free.
At least one person is dead after an explosion at a Tyson Foods plant in Georgia.
You can see fire over the back of the building. Appears to be the northeast corner of the building.
Dispatch audio courtesy of Broadcastify. The union representing the factory workers also say that several others were badly burned, and it was caused by a boiler explosion. The Mitchell County Coroner's Office says a 61-year-old woman who died did not work at that particular plant. A man accused of setting a woman on fire on board a New York City subway train is facing first-degree murder charges, but authorities are still trying to identify the victim.
Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez says they're using advanced fingerprinting and DNA techniques to try to identify the woman who was burned to death inside of a subway train.
We know that there's a family. Just because someone appears to have been living in the situation of homelessness does not mean that there's not going to be family devastated.
His office announced an indictment against Sebastian Zepeda, accused of setting her on fire. He is due in court January 7th. Brian Clark, ABC News.
Homelessness was on the rise this year, according to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Homelessness rose a little more than 18% in 2024 compared with last year. There was a 40% rise in homeless families. 33% more children experienced at least one day of homelessness. Dave Packer, ABC News.
This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. Over the past 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities, dignitaries, and individuals worldwide. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star and give the ultimate Christmas gift. The star name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333 to give the brightest gift. That's 800-282-3333.
News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
I'm Gil Walter, KBNU News. News is brought to you by Dr. Keith Nelson. The pedestrian struck and killed on I-215 just days before Christmas has been identified as 30-year-old Jorge Luis Reyes Barrios, and investigators said he had connections to Venezuela. Utah Highway Patrol officials said they notified loved ones in Venezuela of his passing. Utah has become a destination for Venezuelan migrants. Early Sunday morning, while it was still dark, a caller reported a man on the south loop of the freeway near Redwood Road. A short time later, troopers arrived to find Reyes Barrios dead. UHB officials said he had been struck by at least 3 cars. Police are asking why he was in harm's way, and did he walk to the interstate from Redwood Road, or was he dropped off by a car on I-215? Lieutenant Chamberlain Neff with UHP said mainly they want to know what he was doing up on the freeway. Troopers have been in contact with 2 drivers whose vehicles hit Reyes Barrios, and said the first claimed they did not immediately realize it was a person that they had hit. The second driver did, apparently stopped and called 911, but was routed to a different dispatch center, and the driver was told it was okay to leave the area. No information was shared about the driver of the third car. When Reyes Barrios' body was found, there was no ID and no cell phone on him. Lieutenant Cameron Roden with UHP said the medical examiner was able to determine identification. Utah District 4 Representative Kara Birkeland announced her resignation on Thursday, effective January 10th. She cited the need to focus more on family and professional commitments. The effective resignation will be days before the general legislative session beginning January 21st. Birkeland's District 4 seat includes constituents in Morgan, Rich, Summit, Daggett, and Duchesne counties. Birkeland's statement read in part that the choice was not made lightly and it had weighed heavily on her mind for some time, partly because she feels that her work is far from complete. Nevertheless, the present circumstances demand that she focus on other significant responsibilities. She hopes the successor will continue promoting legislative commitment to District 4's values. And one person is dead after being struck by a truck at 3300 South in South Salt Lake Thursday night. The 3300 South Road at 1000 West was closed for a time. Police confirmed the incident occurred at about 6:15 Thursday night. The victim was a man in his 40s or 50s. No other information was available on that. KBNU Weather is brought to you by Quality First Insurance. Insuring your business can be frustrating. Matt Robbins at Quality First Insurance can help, and he will call you back. For more information, go to q1ins.com. Winter storm warning in effect for the mountains until late Saturday night. Also, avalanche warning is also in effect for the backcountry until 6 a.m. Saturday. For the Cache Valley, tonight, cloudy, rain likely, a chance of snow this evening, then rain and snow after midnight. Little or no accumulation expected, low in the upper 20s. Rain and snow in the morning, then rain in the afternoon on Saturday, high around 40. Get more news at CacheValleyDaily.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Keith Nelson, board-certified, fellowship-trained orthopedic surgeon, and I want to restore your active, pain-free life. I've been an innovator in the treatment of knee pain caused by arthritis and sports injuries for 27 years. I'm the only surgeon in northern Utah to offer Omnibotics, a robotic-assisted knee replacement for your arthritic knee, which has a 97% patient satisfaction rate. Don't live with your knee pain another day. Visit drkeithnelsonortho.com. That's drkeithnelsonortho.com.
Dr. Nelson accepts most insurances, including select health plans.
News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
It's Cody from Industrial Tool and Supply. Usually, I'm here talking about our Makita deals, but in the holiday rush, I often forget to express my gratitude to you. Thanks for backing me, my team, and our local business for 35 years. As a second-generation owner, your support means the world to me. Thanks for letting us assist you, your family, and your business with Makita products and more. We appreciate your trust in us to get the job done. From the bottom of our hearts, Industrial Tool and Supply and Makita extend a heartfelt thank you.
It's that time of year. Time to gear up for winter adventure in beautiful Bear Lake. Whether it's the thrill of snowmobile rides or the tranquility of cross-country skiing, Bear Lake has something for everyone. Go to bearlake.org and click Hot Deals to find cabin and condo rentals. Explore dining options and see what events are happening around Bear Lake. Bring family, bring friends. Enjoy a night or two by the fire, playing games and watching movies. Make a plan and find deals on lodging and rentals at bearlake.org.
Nestled in the heart of breathtaking landscape, Maple Creek Ranch on the north end of Cache Valley is more than just land. It's where your story begins. It's the perfect location for building your dream home. But only a few lots remain, so act now to claim your piece of paradise. Imagine mornings with breathtaking views, evenings by the fire, and every moment surrounded by the peaceful charm of nature. With stunning views, babbling brooks, and miles of wilderness. Google Maple Creek Ranch to learn more about these final few lots.
25 NCAA championships, 18 conference championships.
And the Aggies are going dancing.
10 tournament championships.
The Aggies are pulling out the scissors, and they're going to cut down the nest.
Our winning culture continues. Our Utah State Aggies play here on the Aggie Sports Network.
Pre-game begins 1 hour before tip-off. Don't miss game day on your home of the Aggies. News Talk KVNU. KVNU's For the People with Jason Williams and Bill Walter.
And it is Utah known as the fraud capital of the world. Not because we have more people committing fraud, but because we have so many people falling for it.
Going beneath the headlines and connecting you to the newsmakers.
The radio is a great way to get the word out to a lot of people in an emergency. So we thank you for your help and being a partner with us.
For the People on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM, 102.1 FM, online at 610kvnu.com and on the KVNU mobile app.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is Friday, December 27th. This week went by fast, huh? All right. Christmas holiday over in the past. New Year's coming up. With that in mind, we'll jump into this a bit early today. The For the People movie show end of the year recap begins today. Now, we're going to split this because of the timing of the first of the 2025 year and New Year's Eve. We're going to split this in two movie shows. So we're going to do this today, and we're going to start a bit early, not wait until 5. So Andy's on his way here now. We'll start a bit early, and we'll get about halfway through the recap. And then 1 week from today, actually after the New Year's holiday on January 3rd, we will finish it up. So recapping the year in movies. During this time, we also have a chance to get Andy's top 5, 10. We'll find out more today as well. We started last week on this and made it about halfway through, but we'll find out more today on his ballot that he submitted last Friday to the Utah Film Critics Association and how their voting broke down, what the Film Critics Association for the state of Utah listed as their top 5 movies. So a lot to get to. Also, you're going to want to go ahead and clear the 28th, 29th, or 30th, or all three if you want. But this was something that didn't happen for a few years there because of the pandemic, but it was actually back last year and back again this year. But an annual tradition out at the Golden Spike National Historic Park, the Winter Steam Festival is taking place this weekend. Again, December 28th, 29th, and 30th. And visitors come from all over the world for this, by the way. But it's one of the few places where you can actually see and actually interact, get on a fully operational 1860s era steam locomotive. And this year, they're also going to be featuring the Union Pacific number 119. It's going to be running through the day and all 3 days. And this is part of the historic Transcontinental Railroad grade that it will run on. And it's a chance to kind of step way, way back in time, Victorian era. This is a big event that starts at 10 a.m. each day. The locomotive actually arrives the 28th at 10 a.m., and then they have a demonstration run at 11:30, at 1 p.m., at 3 p.m., and at 4:30, the locomotive departs. Now, that is each day. So, again, this is 10 a.m., 11:30 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., and 4:30 p.m., the times for actually being able to get up in and even ride on the train. So if you've never been on a steam train, this is your opportunity. The Steam Festival, again, this weekend, December 28th, 29th, and 30th. So link to that on our Facebook page. You can also visit the Golden Spike National Historical Park on Facebook and via the National Park Service website, nps.gov. Just click on Golden Spike there, and you'll see the first entry on their calendar is everything you need to know about the Winter Steam Festival. But we've got more coming up for you. Our own Bill Walter had a chance earlier today to actually speak with a park ranger, Justin Glasgow, park ranger at the Golden Spike National Historic Park out there. And he had a chance to talk to him earlier today, and we'll get to that coming up in just a few minutes. Big news here in Utah for legislative junkies. One of the most talked about, and I guess you could say polarizing state lawmakers, is stepping down. Effective January 10th, I believe, was the date that she listed. But Kira Birkeland, she lives in Morgan, Utah. She represents a large district there in Morgan, Utah, and a bit beyond in the legislature, and has for a couple of years now. She just ran for re-election, and that's where some of the controversy around this is kind of coming up. She announced yesterday via a public statement and press release that she'd be leaving the legislature to care for an aging parent who now details were slim on this, but the picture painted at least is of a parent with sadly not long left. But Birkeland did say that it was going to be at least a year, and she felt that her legislative duties would suffer. So she wanted to step down before the legislative session gets underway, which is actually the week after her last day in office. This allows a process of basically appointment to happen for the delegates in her district. They can choose someone to replace her and have that taken care of before the end of the first week of January. Some are criticizing Birkeland for the timing, not the reason, obviously, but the timing, saying that this was a decision that she maybe knew back in the fall or even earlier that she wasn't going to be able to serve her term, but being the incumbent wanted to run and then step down so that they could kind of hand select her replacement. And she said that this isn't the case whatsoever, but she offered no other details on the timing of this. Others close to Birkeland, both the supporters and critics, have said, either that's not true, not the justification for the timing. This is literally news that she just got, and she didn't want to throw it out before the holidays, so she is throwing it out now. Birkeland is controversial because she has been the sponsor of several bills, and I'll be honest with you, regardless of how you feel about the content of her bills, I'm not a fan of what Birkeland represents in the legislature because it's the nationalization of state legislatures. That's what political scientists call it. State legislatures, instead of being entirely focused on the business of the state, which is their job and their only job, they're increasingly caught up in these national political hot-button issues that aren't really germane to the state that they represent. Democrats do it, too. It's not just a red state thing. It happens in blue states. It happens less in purple states, interestingly enough. If you want to know another value of competitive elections, they don't jump on the political bandwagons as much in purple states. But red states and blue states, they do. And it wastes everyone's time and taxpayer money. So I'm not a fan of it. Birkeland was that lawmaker. She was fond of getting herself on the TV screens as well, and ran a lot of controversial bills that were usually tied to some national bandwagon that was getting a lot of discussion on Twitter. Birkeland, though, described her time in the House of Representatives as immensely fulfilling, and said that she hopes whoever her successor is will, quote, uphold the common sense and values that define Utah. Birkeland said that this wasn't an easy decision for her at all. She had a lot more that she had planned to do. The reason this is interesting news, though, is that Birkeland has started a process that the state is kind of in the middle of, and she was the one lawmaker that was really kind of pushing for continued work on this, and now there's a question as to whether it will continue because it's caught up in court. And now there's a question of whether Utah lawmakers, those left in the House, have the appetite to continue what Birkeland was pushing. And basically that is a couple of different things. But the one primary one is a bill passed late in the session in 2022 that banned transgender athletes from participating in high school sports in Utah. And Governor Cox vetoed the bill, said it was cruel and unfair, and that the state could do better than just a straight-up ban. And lawmakers, angry with his veto, held a special session and overrode the veto. Portions of the law immediately locked the law up in court, so it has never gone into effect in the 2 years after it was passed by the House and the Senate here in Utah. And Birkeland said that the bill is an effort to ensure, quote, fairness in girls' sports, and a cause she has continued to champion. So that's all in question now, because if the original sponsor isn't there and no one else wants to take this up and make it their thing, and then a new attorney general getting sworn in, Derek Brown, he has a duty to defend laws the state has passed, but the legislature, if they say, this is no longer a priority for us, that becomes a back burner issue, and not a lot of effort is put into that. So it does call a lot into question on that front. We'll see what happens. But again, this was the big news of the day. Check it out. And if you want to know more about Birkeland and some of the other things she did in the legislature as well, the Salt Lake Tribune has a great write-up on her. I've linked to that on our Facebook page. So there's your political news of the day, and that's pretty much it for Utah politics today, to be honest with you. A lot more, though, we can talk about. And again, the For the People movie show starting a bit early today as we begin our two-part end of the year recap. This Friday and after the New Year's holiday on January 3rd, we'll wrap it up. Recapping 2024, looking ahead at 2025. Coming up, though, again, our own Bill Walter had a chance to speak with Park Ranger Justin Glasgow about the upcoming Winter Steam Festival taking place this weekend at the Golden Spike National Historic Park. If you've never seen or been on a steam train, well, this is your opportunity, and we've got the details on how you can be a part of this coming up in just a few minutes here on KVN News for the People.
Merry Christmas!
From our family to yours.
'Tis the season of Murdoch GMC Chevrolet Cadillac.
Unwrap incredible savings during the most wonderful buy of the year.
Receive the gift of $11,000 off a new GMC Sierra 1500.
When you walk through our doors, you feel like family.
At Murdoch Chevrolet GMC Cadillac in Logan or online at MurdochChevroletLogan.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Call 888-391-6083 or see dealer for complete details. Offer expires 1/2/2025.
It's Fisher Home Furnishings year-end liquidation. The last week of the year, Fisher's marks down and clears out all overstocks, one-of-a-kinds, unclaimed layaways, closeouts, late Christmas arrivals, and discontinued items. Take another 20 to 40% off the lowest mark sale price. Bassett, La-Z-Boy, Flex Steel, Serta, Bernhardt, Lexington, all the best brand names at the year's biggest discounts. 20 to 40% off the sale price. Fisher Home Furnishings year-end liquidation sale. No interest financing. Sorry, no layaways at these prices. Shop in-store or anytime at FisherHF.com.
If I could be you.
And you could be me for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
My favorite songs, the songs about trains.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Coming up this weekend, the Winter Steam Festival out at the Golden Spike National Historic Park. Your opportunity to see, touch, get on, ride an 1860s era steam train. Yeah, the Winter Festival is back this year again. It kicks off on the 28th. That's tomorrow. And our own Bill Walter had a chance to speak with Park Ranger Justin Glasgow for the details, everything you need to know to be a part of this weekend. Here's Bill.
On the line today, we have Justin Glasgow, who is the supervisory ranger over visitor services and interpretation, and I might add also education. Is that right, Justin?
Yes, sir. It is.
With the Golden Spike National Historic Site west of Brigham City. And this year, late December, always brings us the Winter Steam Festival. And this year is no different. The festival is scheduled for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday at Golden Spike. Justin, thanks for spending a few minutes with us here on KVNU.
You bet. Happy to do it. This is one of our favorite festivals and definitely one of our favorite events out of the events that we host here at the park. And I think we've been doing this since 1990, and its precursor was actually a film festival in the 80s, and then somebody thought we should bring out a locomotive during the Winter Film Festival, and then in 1990, so we're on our 34th year here of doing the Winter Steam Festival. So it's a very, very special event for us.
Oh, very good. Now, does it still include a film festival? Is that still part of it?
No, sir. That's a great question. The film component dropped off probably by the mid '90s because the locomotive demonstrations took over the show. No pun intended. But they literally, people were much more interested in being outside and filming and experiencing the sights and sounds and of the locomotives. And, of course, with the cold air and heavy, warm steam coming out, the contrast is quite nice. And of course, for those of us who are local to the area and have been out here, you know that these are Victorian-style locomotives, so they're brightly colored and very, very ornate, and so they certainly are something to behold on a crisp winter day.
So at what times over the next few days will you actually have the steam demonstrations?
You bet. And this is on our website as well, so if people, if the public wants to Google Golden Spike National Historical Park, they'll go right to it, and it's on our front page. But the locomotive demonstrations will occur 5 times a day, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and they'll be, this year we are featuring the number 119, the Union Pacific coal-fired number 119, and that's kind of our tradition, is we alternate, we give each locomotive a turn, so this year it is the 119's turn, but she will be running at 10 a.m., 11:30 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., and 4:30 p.m. will be the final run. So for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, it'll be 10 a.m., 11:30 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., and then the final departure run for each one of those days is 4:30.
Awesome. That sounds like a lot of opportunities for folks to experience that up close. I understand you have some other activities that are going on that are part of the Winter Steam Festival. Maybe you can tell us about some of those.
You bet. Happy to do that. So we will have junior ranger programs going on, and so for children of all ages who want to participate in the Junior Ranger program, they can earn a badge and become sworn in as a Junior Ranger for the National Park Service. We have coloring activities for children, just things to keep people inside if they want to be warm, if they want to warm up for a while. And we'll also have we'll also have some lectures during the day as well. And on Saturday, we have a special treat from the state of Utah, and we'll have Chris Merritt, who is the State Historic Preservation Officer for the state of Utah. He'll be giving a talk
ABC News.
Noon and at 2 p.m. on the Transcontinental Railroad. And, of course, Utah has a big portion of that remaining rail bed, not only here at Golden Spike, but the Bureau of Land Management has a large section of that heads out to Nevada. So Chris Merritt will be doing his talk at noon and 2 p.m. on Saturday.
Okay, so that will be a Saturday, just a Saturday presentation for that.
Yeah, just a Saturday, and then on Sunday we will have our park historian doing a noon program on the Transcontinental Railroad and its effects on travel, and that's Jonathan Fairchild. He'll be doing he's our park historian. He'll be doing a program at noon on Sunday, and at noon on Monday we have one of our park rangers talking about the Sierra Nevada mountains and the snow, the challenges of getting over those mountains during the snow season. So that'll be a nice visual program as well for people who want to take a break from the cold.
Sure.
So
yeah.
So we'll have some ranger programs. We'll have junior ranger programs for people to participate in, as well as we have cab tours. So another chance to warm up. If you haven't been inside a fully functional steam locomotive, this is an opportunity to go through and see what the actual firebox looks like and the controls. And again, these are exact replicas of what was here in 1869. So we don't cheat or anything like that. Everything is the real deal. So that's a lot of fun. And weather permitting, we will have a hand car out, as well as potentially a motor car, which is we used to use we call them speeders, but they were used to maintain the railroad. So the railroad workers would travel back and forth on those speeders, to replace ties and make sure the rails, everything was tamped down and tight, and the same with the hand car. So we are expecting a little bit of rain and snow tomorrow and potentially Sunday, but so I definitely tell people to come prepared to dress warm and for the weather. But those things should also be operating as well.
Yeah, I saw that on your website, the winter driving alert for those that are headed out there. But I was thinking about this. This time of year, a lot of people have relatives in town from other places, and this would be a great place to take them to and really have a fun experience, and also learn quite a bit about the history of the Transcontinental Railroad.
No, I mean, absolutely, Bill. You're dead on. I mean, this was a transformative event for the country, and our entrance fee is $20 for the vehicle, so that's quite a deal. So you can bring the whole family out and enjoy the festivities that are going on here, and also learn about the transformation of the country that occurred right here in Utah, right in our backyard, which is pretty special.
Yeah, relatives can take home some nice memories.
Absolutely.
All right. Winter Steam Festival is happening at the Golden Spike National Historic Park Saturday, Sunday, and Monday this weekend. And we're very grateful to have Justin Glasgow, Supervisory Ranger out there at Golden Spike, to spend a few minutes with us. Thank you, Justin.
You're very welcome, and please, everyone, come and see us. Looking forward to seeing people coming out.
And now, Jason, back to you.
Thank you, Bill. And by the way, for listeners, if you want to hear more of Bill Walter, he's going to be joining us on Monday's show. Bill is entering partial retirement, which is going to include him stepping back from the live broadcast side of radio production. And he'll still be around. You'll still hear his voice in much of our production, things like that. But he's going to join us on Monday. And to kind of celebrate Bill sort of stepping back a bit, we're going to talk about how radio has changed over the years. So Monday at 4 o'clock. Bill Walter will be with us here in the studio. And thanks, Bill. Thanks, Justin. Get out to the Winter Steam Festival and stick around. Speaking of Bill, you're going to hear him right now in this look at the local news.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News is brought to you by Bell Sculpt. A 19-year-old North Logan man has been sentenced to 7 months in jail for helping a teenage girl run away from home. Bryson Ray Such apologized and said what he did was wrong. Such was sentenced December 23rd in Logan's 1st District Court. He previously accepted a plea deal, pleading guilty in 2 cases to conspiracy, sexual exploitation of a minor, a second-degree felony, endangerment of a child, a third-degree felony, and misdemeanors for obstruction of justice, possession of a controlled substance, and impaired driving. According to prosecutors, Such and the 16-year-old girl were in a relationship. In February, he took her from her home and tried to keep her hidden from searching family members. Prosecutors report during that time, Such gave the victim drugs and filmed her having sex with him. The video is later found on a cell phone by investigators. During Monday's sentencing, the victim's mother talked about what it was like for their family to wake up and find their daughter missing. She hoped Such would serve time in jail and turn his life around. Earlier, defense attorney Tony Baird noted how his client had made some poor decisions. He explained how even though it was not appropriate, Such and the victim were in a consensual relationship. Judge Angela Fonsbeck told Such he needs to make changes in his life. She explained it is an adult's responsibility to protect children. He was ordered to serve 210 days in jail. Given credit for 9 days previously served, he will then be placed on probation and the sex offender registry. Utah State men's basketball is set for part 2 of a 3-game road trip to conclude the 2024 calendar year. Its first true road games of the season. This is perhaps the most difficult stretch of games on the schedule. Of course, all 3 road games being against top 60 net teams, St. Mary's, 49 at the time, San Diego State, and Nevada. As the net rankings currently sit, Utah State is 2-0 in quad 1 games with 3 remaining on the schedule, including each of the next 2. And up next, a trip to San Diego State. Tip-off is 4 p.m. Saturday afternoon. Aggie Game Day begins at 3 on KVNU. Nationwide TV coverage is on Fox TV. KVNU weather, winter storm warning in effect for the mountains. That continues through late Saturday night. For the Cache Valley, rain likely, chance of snow this evening, rain and snow after midnight. Little or no additional accumulation. Low in the upper 20s, and then rain and snow Saturday morning. Rain in the afternoon on Saturday, high around 40. Get more news at CacheValleyDaily.com.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. President-elect Trump asking the Supreme Court to stop the clock on a U.S. TikTok deadline.
Trump's nominee to be Solicitor General, who submitted the filing, says Trump alone possesses the consummate deal-making expertise, the electoral mandate, and the political will to negotiate a resolution to save the platform.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy, another stowaway, was caught on a Delta flight, this time from Seattle to Hawaii, as it taxied for takeoff on Christmas Eve. North Korean troops fighting for Russia and Ukraine have been experiencing heavy losses. White House National Security spokesman John Kirby.
I hope they're loading up their commanders with a bunch of body bags because they're clearly going to need it.
Mortgage rates ticking higher heading into the new year. The average 30-year fixed mortgage now up to 6.85%. His family saying through a statement from his longtime employer that CBS sportscaster Greg Gumbel has died after a battle with cancer. He was 78 years old. This is ABC News.
Hey Cache Valley, it's Wendy, co-founder here at Bell Medical. Let's be honest, you've probably heard the same Bell Medical message for years, but you may not actually know what we do. Bell Medical is now Bell Sculpt. We transform and sculpt bodies, anybody, anyway. We're here to be your partner in confidence to help you get rid of that one area that just won't go away. Book your free consultation at bell.fm, that's BELLE.fm, or call us at 801-899-1244.
From ABC News, Wall Street Now. Tech stocks drag markets down, closing out a holiday-shortened week with losses. The Nasdaq fell 298 points, the Dow dropped 333, and the S&P 500 gave up 67 points. Semiconductor giant NVIDIA and Microsoft each dipped over 2%, while Tesla lost more than 4%. Despite the daily drop, markets are on track for overall gains in 2024. More than 24 million people watched the 2 NFL games that streamed on Netflix on Christmas Day, according to Nielsen, a streaming record. Duke Energy has filed a plan with the Florida Public Service Commission to recover more than $1 billion in direct costs stemming from the company's emergency activation and response to 3 hurricanes this year. A federal appeals court has largely rejected Starbucks' appeal of a National Labor Relations Board ruling that found the chain illegally fired 2 Philadelphia baristas who wanted to unionize. Dave Packer, ABC News.
You might ask yourself, when is the best time to start saving for retirement? The answer is simple. It's today. And Edward Jones Financial Advisor is here to help. They will work with you to build a plan for your ideal retirement by identifying your unique goals and help keep you on track to achieve them. The sooner you get started, the better. Call one of our 11 Edward Jones locations in Cache Valley to schedule an appointment today. Making sense of investing. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. What better gift can you give yourself or your spouse than the gift of better sleep? We carry the world's 2 best beds, Purple and Tempur-Pedic. These beds will cradle the hip and shoulder and lift into the lower back. Or select a pillow. We have these Purple pillows that are the #1 pillow in the country right now. 5 years, no interest financing, plus twin mattresses starting at $99 and queen starting at $299. Come in today and have it delivered tonight. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress for the holiday sale.
The Above and Beyond Salute.
Hello?
Yeah, good morning. Is Janessa McDaniel there?
Yeah, Yeah, this is her.
I understand you're a first grade teacher.
I am, yes.
What made you want to get into teaching first graders?
It's just that I love kids. Kids are so special, and I love being a part of that.
We wanted to commend you for that and give you free lunch to Firehouse Subs here in Logan.
That is so great. Thank you so much.
The Above and Beyond Salute, sponsored by Firehouse Subs on News Talk KVNU.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. For the People movie show coming up. Andy Morgan and I will begin Andy's traditional year-end recap 2024, summarizing the year, the best and worst moments of the year in movies. And we're going to split this into two shows. Due to the timing of the New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, we'll actually be doing one of the second part of this. We'll start today. We'll do the second part of this on January 3rd. So we'll be able to recap the whole year, look ahead at 2025 and more. There's a lot to look ahead at, or look ahead to. So that kicks off in a few minutes with the For the People movie show. I love lists. This is one of my favorite things about the days between Christmas and New Year's. I have an excuse to just pack the show with best of lists, and I don't know why I've always enjoyed these, but so yesterday I did my best and one avoid, not worst, because it wasn't poorly done. I'm just saying avoid because I thought it was really lazy. Nonfiction books. If you missed that, you can grab the podcast. But the books that I enjoyed listening to the most this year in the nonfiction category, I made some other lists. So throughout the year, I've said it, every year I said I was going to do this, and then I never would, and then all of a sudden it'd be June and too late because I'd missed so many months. And my memories, I have a good memory for things that happened and the detail of those things, almost photographic. What I have a bad memory for is whether it happened this year or the year before, whether it was January or May, that kind of stuff. My brain doesn't bother to code that in. So I remember all the details, but I don't know for sure if it was a 2024 event or 2023. So I write it down. And this year I actually made some lists of things that I thought were the biggest. I don't know if you want to say pop culture meets politics, or pop culture and politics meet social media. I don't know. But there were some trends this year that started out on TikTok or Twitter in one case that became, that sort of got interwoven into even the presidential campaigns. Now, I'm not going to explain each one of these because the explanations might actually offend some people. But if you want to look them up yourself, you're more than welcome to. But these are the three that I wrote down of the year. These are three words that started as two of them TikTok trends. So we're talking Gen Z and younger mainly started these trends, and then it got so popular, it went so viral that you had presidential candidates, jokingly in some cases, sometimes not, working them into stump speeches, or in one case, the campaign was actually working them into fundraising emails and things like that. That's how viral these things went. And the three, again, I'm not going to explain these because two of them might offend some folks, but the three that I think were the biggest, crash out, cutesy, and Haktua. Those were the three words. Maybe this is weird to a lot of people. I'm fascinated by this, that a thing can just become a global trend in 24 hours on TikTok. And then it's so big that, presidential campaigns, both of them, don't want to feel left out. And they don't want to pass on an opportunity to get the attention of young people, young voters. And so they're actually jumping in on these trends. And it all happens in like 24 to 36 hours. Some people, folklorists, for example, find it creepy. And I get that. So, biggest beef of the year. I think it was Kendrick Lamar and Drake, the rap beef. If you're not following that, well, first off, if you don't know the details of this, you probably will not care even learning the details. So we'll leave it at that. I think the biggest flops of the year, the things that kind of, now these weren't things introduced necessarily in this year, but three things that I wrote down this year that just imploded. One of them is actually a couple of years old. One of them I think is almost 40 years old, but this was the year that finally just like a balloon with the knot untied. And that is, and maybe this is a good thing, but Tesla Cybertrucks. It started, now this was a self-inflicted wound, not necessarily self-inflicted by Tesla or its owner, but self-inflicted by Cybertruck owners. Cybertruck owners, tired of sort of being jokingly laughed at by real truck owners, decided to stand their ground, not realizing that this would be funny. They didn't intend it to be funny, but in January and February of 2024, there was this trend where Cybertruck owners would go out to Lowe's and or local Ace Hardware, whatever it is, and they'd load the trunk of their Cybertruck up with normal truck things like bags of dirt and shovels. But the problem is this is a small area compared to a truck bed, and so it'd be like 2 bags of Miracle Grow and a foldable shovel. And so this became kind of a joke. And so then real truck owners actually started responding. One of my favorites was a guy standing next to his truck with the audio of the Cybertruck owner's video. I think it was a TikTok, actually, playing over, and him just, mouthing the words, lip syncing to the original defense of the Cybertruck. But as he's standing there, a front-end loader is actually dumping an entire very full bucket of dirt in the back of his truck. And it just became hilarious. And I think the whole Cybertruck thing just kind of, and then there was also the incident of the guy driving one into a car wash and then it was dead because it got wet. That's not, yeah. Anyway, so the Cybertruck had a bad year. Deservedly. Again, going to mention him in a second time. This was my biggest beef of the year, the Kendrick Lamar and Drake rap beef, which is still going on, by the way. The way this one played out, for those not familiar, they were releasing singles against each other. So they were making a lot of money off of this beef, but it was interesting. And it actually had a reason to exist. It wasn't just some stupid beef over some stupid thing. So again, if you don't know the details, you're not going to care. If you know the details, to me, that was one of the biggest beefs of the year. Second only to the beef between the two presidential candidates. But of course, competing presidential candidates are going to have a beef, right? Flops. Cybertruck, Drake, because he lost the beef, I think, against Kendrick Lamar, and Francis Ford Coppola. Francis Ford Coppola is a director that I've often, this is my attempt at a segue into the year-end recap of 2024 with Andy Morgan and the For the People movie show, wrapping up with this one for my list today. But he's a director that I've always admired. He's by the way, he's 85, but he has done some amazing things and some mediocre things that were still like 1992's Dracula with Keanu Reeves. It is what it is. Go back and watch that, though. It actually it holds up a little better. But at Rumblefish in 1983, if you've never seen that, yeah. He also did The Outsiders, which is a similarly themed, not to be dismissive, but troubled teen kind of thing. The Conversation in 1974, also a classic that doesn't get talked about enough. But he's most famous, of course, for the Godfather series. This is including, for better or worse, I defend it. I don't think it's as bad as people say, but including The Godfather Part 3. I didn't think it was as bad. It wasn't as good as Part 1 and 2, obviously. Part 2 is a classic. Part 1 is iconic, obviously. Cinema history. Part 2 is probably one of the best movies, I think, made. Apocalypse Now, of course, is a Coppola movie. I kind of think it's overrated, but it's one of his most famous. And then he takes a break for several years, and he comes back, and everybody's talking about it, and then he drops this steaming pile of Megalopolis on us this year. And personally, I think this was one of the biggest flops. And I think it deserves attention because I think that sometimes this happens when someone has the clout and the reputation of Francis Ford Coppola. I think Andy and I have talked about this before. I think sometimes people just they aren't honest with them. You know, what are you going to do? You're going to argue? You're going to tell Francis Ford Coppola that this is a stinker, that his direction is bad, that the movie's awful, that no one's going to like it. You know, he's Francis Ford Coppola. Who wants to be that person on set that's arguing with Francis Ford Coppola? That'd end your career, right? And so nobody tells them, and they make this movie, and they put it out, and it's just a gigantic clunker. Well, that was Megalopolis. Had some famous people in it, some good people. Adam Driver, Grace Wanderhall, Shia LaBeouf, Chloe Fineman. Interesting plot. A conflict between Caesar, not the historical figure, an artist who wants to leap into a utopian, idealistic future that actually exists, because it's kind of sci-fi a little bit, and his nemesis, Mayor Franklin Cicero, who remains committed to keeping everyone locked in a regressive status quo, perpetuating greed, special interests, and partisan warfare. It's an attempt at social commentary, but it was just so poorly done. And it's amazing to me that someone like Coppola, who made The Godfather 2, Dracula, Apocalypse Now, The Outsiders, just all these amazing films, and then nobody bothers to tell them as they put together Megalopolis 2024. Francis, this is bad. So that, to me, was the biggest loser of the year. And at his age, I really hope he gets to make another film. It would be so sad to see him go out on this one. If you haven't seen Megalopolis, I recommend watching it, ironically, just because it's Francis Ford Coppola. It ain't good. So, all right, there's my clunkers list for 2024. We'll be back with more of For the People right after this.
News Talk 610 AM 102.1 FM KVNU.
Hey Cache Valley, it's Bo and Jace Peterson with Steel Coated Epoxy Floors. We're grateful and honored to have been named gold medal winners for flooring contractor in the 2024 Best of Northern Utah. We're proud to serve this amazing community.
Best of Northern Utah.
Oh boy, winter is here, and so is the snow. Quickly remove snow from your driveway, sidewalks, and parking lot by calling Ed at Edson Builders, 435-232-2680. Fast, reliable snow removal services for any property, any size. And they do it with the same attention to detail as they do with building homes and businesses. They can also add salt to keep everything safe and slip-free. Call 435-232-2680 and take the stress out of winter. Edson Builders and snow removal, 435-232-2680.
How is your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
All right, dads, let's test your knowledge. Ready? What does this sound? Some of the more experienced parents recognize it as the sound a young teenager makes when he's done something he regrets. Listen. Kind of a sad sound, isn't it? But if you recognized it, then you know exactly what to do. Listen, because that's when together you can both figure out how not to make the same mistake again.
This message from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Hi, this is Chris Wilson of Wilson Motor Company. It's been a great year, and I appreciate all of our customers and employees who have made it possible. If you're looking for a new or used vehicle, we are in the final days of our holiday sales event. We have clearance prices on all remaining vehicles. Check out our inventory online at wilsonmotor.com or drop in for a test drive at one of our 2 great locations at 328 North Main or next to the Olive Garden.
Wilson Motor Company, we make car buying easy.
Everybody loves somebody somehow. Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Got a message from a listener here, and I was planning to address. The listener said, "What? You're not going to do your biggest political moments and flops?" And yes, on Monday. I'll give you a teaser of this one, though, because I've put together a list of things that I thought were the most underrated political or global geopolitical events, or one isn't really an event. It's just something that really took off. And so I've got a whole list of those, but I'll give you a little teaser. In 2024, we learned that there is a space race happening. Japan landed their smart lander, SLIM, smart lander for investigating the moon. China sent a mission that brought back soil samples from the far side of the moon, and NASA, the Perseverance rover, found evidence of microbial life on Mars. This all happened in 2024. Well, it happened before then, but it was, in one case, it was confirmed, the microbial life in 2024. So it was a big year, but also, again, you've got major superpowers competing, and that's kind of been lost in the mix. People have not realized that, and I think it's a good thing. So very different than the Cold War space race. This is more of a positive one. And I think, again, a teaser of my list I'll get to in full on Monday of geopolitical or just political events that were the biggest of 2024 or the worst. China's continued economic rise as a global superpower on the economic world. It was called China Shock and considered a one-off event in 2023, but it stuck around. China's economy started sputtering after COVID, and people thought they were done for, and they rebounded. And it's going to be hard for any country, including the U.S., to overtake them unless people get serious about some things. So we'll talk about that more on Monday.